All right, welcome to another edition of Environmental Science with Mr. Whedon. So we are on 5.2. 5.2 is going to be dealing with how ecosystems are going to respond to changing conditions. And so the big thing that we're going to see here is succession with forests and other environments that we see. So an ecological succession is when you're going to see a ecosystem bounce back from something or grow from something. So again, you're going to see that there's going to be a gradual change in the species, in the biotic and abiotic factors that are seen in these geographic areas. So we see that if we're looking at either primary or secondary succession, what we see is that you may start with uh, either no to very low amounts of plant life. And so what you see is that it's going to be the response or change from where you start. So you might have a lot of rocky area, you might not have a lot of vegetation, but over time you're going to see that different mosses, different lichens are going to come back and break down that rock into nutrients which plants can need, and then you're going to see that small grasses, smaller plants will grow, and eventually you might get to a full blown forest. Okay. But essentially, what you're going to see is that the community is going to respond to changing conditions, environmental conditions. So, examples of that would be fires, volcanic eruptions, climate change, clear cutting. Again, all of these are different examples of very drastic extreme conditions and how that forest or how that ecosystem is going to come back. And again, primary and secondary succession are examples of what we see with naturally ecological restoration. And so, primary ecological succession, there's only really one big difference between the primary and secondary ecological succession. With primary ecological succession, you start off with essentially no soil, no bottom sediment, essentially, no plant life. You're dealing with rocks, right? And so over time, what happens is lichens or mosses may migrate to the area. They're going to break down the rock settlement that you have there, and then soil will be created. You're going to see that the nutrients are going to be in that soil, and this is going to allow for different grasses, different plant species to live in that area. Once you had those little grasses growing, then that's where primary and secondary ecological succession are the same. But again, primary is just you start off with bare rock, and this will take a lot longer for that ecosystem to turn into a vibrant forest or a very lush or very big forest. So again, what we see with primary ecological succession is that you have exposed rock, lichen or mosses are going to come in and they're going to break down the rock. Again, they're going to bring nutrients back into the soil. And then once that soil is there, you're going to see small herbs, shrubs, all that come in and grow. And then eventually you're going to see larger, more biodiverse plants coming in to the point where you're going to get you're going to get a very dense forest dealing with all different sizes. Eventually, over time, you're going to see that you're going to get larger trees, more mature trees, and more mature species. Okay, so again, it's just a timeline of starting with rocks, lichens are going to break it down, and then the plant life is eventually going to migrate into the area, and then you're going to see that the sizes and species of that are coming into that area are going to change. So again, with a change in the type of vegetation that's in that area, you're going to see different animals migrate to that area too to take advantage of the certain species that is there involving the vegetation or the plant species. So again, secondary ecological succession, I would point it around here. And so essentially it's going to occur where communities or ecosystems have been disturbed, removed, or destroyed, but they do retain soil or bottom sediments. So again, here we have this is where I would start secondary succession, and then this is where it's able to grow back. So again, it allows for uh, pretty much forests, different ecosystems to bounce back. How resilient are they is how much time it's going to take for them to come back. So what we see is that biodiversity of communities and ecosystems are going to increase uh, through this succession. So we're going to be increasing the species diversity and interaction among species. So again, you're going to see a lot of different species take advantage of the situation. We talked about clear cutting, and clear cutting is destroying or cutting down all the trees. All the nutrients are still in the soil for the most part. You're going to see that with the trees, they will take nutrients, but there still will be nutrients in the ground. So you're going to see smaller grasses, smaller plants come by and take advantage of no trees there. A lot of sunlight, water in the area. And so, again, you're just going to start at a different point and you're going to move up to gaining more diversity, more species coming in, whether it's plant life or animal life, they're going to be coming in. Um, Again, with secondary ecological succession, it's not going to be as predictable as it sounds. Like this is a very vague way of different things coming back. Again, it's not predictable to the fact of like, well, we don't really know this or that. Conditions do change, right? You have to remember that with vegetation, with plants, that they're able to not bring water into the area, but when the plant takes in water from the ground, they're going to have the water evaporate from their leaves. So the evaporation is going to re-enter the atmosphere. And then from there, there's going to be more water, more precipitation, more moisture in the air. So that would be causing more rain and more water to re-enter the ground. So if you do cut down all the trees or there's no plant life in that area, you are at risk of having droughts. You are at risk of not having vegetation there. Looking at different deserts, right? The Sahara desert, we talk about Antarctica is a desert just because of the amount of rainfall they get. And so again, it's not always as predictable as it may sound, but again, kind of a good idea of what it would look like between both primary and secondary. So again, primary would probably start here, or it does start here, and then secondary would be around this area. And so what's great about secondary succession, it's going to be promoting population control. So it's going to increase the complexity of food webs. So you're going to see, again, with a higher biodiversity, you're going to see more species in the area, whether it's plant or animal. And so with more diversity, so more species, you're going to see a more complex food web. You're going to enhance that energy flow, and then it's going to increase the nutrient cycle. And so again, looking at secondary ecological succession, there's still soil here, and eventually with weeds, grasses, all that, it's going to evolve and increase up to a mature forest, whether it's oak, hickory, whatever the case may be. You're going to see that they're going to bring in more species and evolve to a more dense, more mature forest. And so what we see is that change is going to happen all the time. But the thing is that we want to have some type of stability or sustainability. And so what's nice about these successions and to a point where we get to a more mature place is that even if there was some type of major stress to that environment, the environment can handle those changes. It is going to get back to a healthy environment given it has the right things. So again, what we see is that these complex processes are going to result in some degree of stability or sustainability. So again, they're going to be able to withstand external stress in response to changing environment conditions. Two aspects of stability, sustainability that we see is inertia, persistence, so it's the ability of an ecosystem to survive a moderate disturbance. So again, maybe a species goes extinct in that area. Maybe you have a surface fire. Maybe trees are cut down, not all of them, but some of them. So again, they're able to survive any type of moderate disturbance, and then they're resilient. It's the ability for an ecosystem to bounce back. Again, if for example, someone is resilient. If you get pushed down, how fast do you get back up? If you get back up quickly, you're very resilient. If you're not able to get back up at all after someone pushes you down, well, you're not really that resilient. You're not really to get back up and get ready to go. And so again, resiliency again is how fast an ecosystem is able to bounce back or get back to it. So again, secondary succession allows for the resiliency to be higher. You're going to see different ecosystems be able to bounce back at a great rate. But given what happens, so if there's a volcano eruption, clear cutting, natural disaster, whatever the case may be, it just kind of depends on how fast that succession or how fast the resiliency is for that ecosystem to bounce back. And again, this is just a short video on both secondary ecological succession and primary ecological succession. 5.2.